So what's the story on DACA then? The president is talking about it this morning. He says DACA is dead. That's what he said in the tweet. He says DACA is dead because the Democrats did not care or act, and now everyone wants to get onto the DACA bandwagon. That no longer works. Must build walls, secure our borders with proper border legislation. Democrats want no borders, hence drugs and crime. So, Raj, is there a change in the president's immigration policy now to report?
No, the president's position is still the same, but he's reflecting reality, which is that Democrats aren't serious about a deal on DACA. They aren't serious about border security. They have rejected deal after deal after deal, generous offers made by this president, and now we need to see real border security on the southern border. Right now, you have a caravan of over 1,000 individuals going through Mexico with the assumption that they're going to come to the United States and then seek asylum. We need the Mexican government to do more, but also there are legal loopholes in the United States from catch and release and other policies that the Democrats aren't willing to work with this administration and Republicans in Congress to fix. So we need more border security. We need to close the legal loopholes. Right. And the president actually is being compassionate and wants to deal with the DACA population humanely, wants a legal program in place that gives them, a permanent solution. And so the president has shown leadership, but it takes two to tango, and Democrats have been totally unwilling to work with us on this issue. They've just been on the sidelines playing politics from day one.
Well, we'll see what that means come the midterm elections and whether or not the American people hold them to account, since now it seems they don't want DACA done. They just want to make it a campaign issue. Is the president now attaching the Mexico doing more to stop the flow of illegals into the U.S. to NAFTA? He's threatening NAFTA, tweeting this: Mexico is doing very little, if not nothing, at stopping people from flowing into Mexico through their southern border and then into the United States. They laugh at our dumb immigration laws. They must stop the big drug and people flows, or I will stop their cash cow. NAFTA need wall. So he's attaching the two now.
Yeah, look, the president is talking about our relationship with Mexico. We want the Mexican government to do more. We want it to do more with respect to people who come across the southern Mexican border and plan to come to the United States. Remember, Mexico actually deports hundreds of thousands of individuals that come across their southern border. They don't have the kind of legal loopholes that the United States has to deal with that Democrats don't want to close. We want the Mexican government to do more to stop individuals that are coming across their southern border with the intent of coming across our southern border and into the United States. So the president's going to continue working with the Mexican government to try to secure their help in doing more to stop the flow of illegal immigration into the United States. But again, we think that the U.S. government should be doing everything that it can, and that means Congress. Right. And that means Democrats in Congress working with us to close legal loopholes and secure our southern border and actually find a responsible solution for the DACA population.
Yeah, no, we understand what the president's saying. Let me ask you, Raj, what is the president doing with Amazon? Over the weekend, he sent out a series of tweets targeting Amazon, reading this in part. It is reported that the U.S. Post Office will lose $1.50 on average for every package it delivers for Amazon. That amounts to billions of dollars. The failing New York Times reports that the size of the company's lobbying staff has ballooned, and that does not include the fake Washington Post, which is used as a lobbyist and should so register as one. If the post office increased its parcel rates, Amazon's shipping costs would rise by $2.6 billion. This post office scam must stop. Amazon must pay real costs and taxes now. Raj, what's the position on Amazon?
Well, the president is articulating what he's talked about for some time, which is that a lot of these companies, internet-based companies like Amazon and others, have grown to such tremendous size and have kind of taken advantage of parts of our laws and our system, whether it be the post office for shipping and an infrastructure that the post office is paid for and set up, that's really meant for mom and pop shops and to help consumers and individuals. It's now supporting, a very massive business in Amazon, as well as, online sales taxes versus brick and mortar retail taxes. So he's talked about how Amazon and other companies, but particularly Amazon, take advantage of laws and regulations that have been in place for decades that weren't really built to deal with a company of this size and stature.
Yeah, all right, well, we will leave it there. People are questioning, is it big bad Amazon, or is it just the president not liking the Washington Post? We'll keep watching that, Raj.
This isn't personal. It applies to all companies. But thanks a lot for having me on, Maria.
Not personal. Thank you, Raj. Raj Shah.